This isn't your usual rags to riches story. We're just normal people, just like you, who've just had our fair share of human experiences.
And are now in a place where we're fortunate to be able to live the life we have designed. So Charlotte, tell them a bit about yourself.
Sure, so a number of years ago, I found myself living abroad in the sun, sea and sand, far from the grey, rainy days of the UK. I had a job that I enjoyed, I was surrounded by people I liked, I was doing something which I did feel was quite meaningful. I was doing it all from this place of just feeling a bit unsettled though. It was like there was this gap inside. And I continued like this for a while, just, living the life on the outside, but yet feeling this emptiness inside in some ways. And it just didn't sit right with me. All this time on autopilot, just living and one day flowing into the next, until I really started to question it all. That's when things started to change. The more awake I became, the worse I felt inside, and it really started to show up, right? It started to show up in my overwhelm, in my behaviours, my state of mind, my quality of thinking started to spiral. But yet on the outside world, to everybody else, everything seemed absolutely fine, and I didn't know anything different. Other than being in the wellness and fitness industry, being everybody else's go-to person, I found it really hard to really understand what was going on within myself. Behind closed doors, I was spiraling. I was overeating to the point of being sick. I isolated myself so much that I didn't even recognise who I was. But yet, when I did go off, obviously into the workspace or with friends, they had no idea because I didn't share it with them. Yet, on the outside, everything did seem pretty perfect. In my career, I was thriving. I was being promoted. I was developing my team. I was even developing myself, trying to become the best leader I could be, to be present with my team. And we got great results. And I really thoroughly did enjoy my face time with others. But what was going on inside was a real big wake-up call. I got to the point where I was literally questioning everything. At a point where I would call it for sure rock bottom. I was thinking of ending it all. I didn't know where to turn or what to do. And it was at that point where I turned and actually got some help. And for me, this is where the game changed completely. I was able to really acknowledge how I'd actually been neglecting all of the other areas of my life and didn't even realise. And when I say life, I'm talking about these bodies that we have inside of us. I was all about the physical world, right? And we must look after ourselves through health and exercise and such. But I was neglecting my emotional well-being, my mental well-being, and my spiritual well-being. And this is where my whole world kind of flipped on its head, and I become so passionate about learning and implementing and understanding and helping others to really understand this for themselves so that they could get into a better space, because I know exactly how that feels. And this is what's inspired us bringing together all of these 4 elements. And all throughout all of this, what I was going through, little did I know, John was actually just around the corner going through his own stuff too.
And what a journey it has been. I have been in the health and fitness industry since leaving school way back when. And the funny thing is, while I was at school, I never even thought about health and fitness. I wanted to work with computers. It was only when I started to do kickboxing that I felt this pull into the health and fitness side. So I decided to go with it and have never looked back. So over the first 5 years of my career, I got qualified as a trainer and a martial arts instructor. And I worked in gyms, martial arts studios, and loved every minute of it. I got to train every day. I got to teach people about health and fitness, and I got paid for the pleasure to do that. What was not to love? But in the back of my mind, there was something telling me there was more. There was more than this, more that I could do, that I could give. But at the time, I was not in the right mindset to listen. I was very ego-driven, very aggressive. It was all about what I knew, and apparently that was everything. My way was the right way, and everyone else was wrong. And boy, did I let people know it when they used to challenge me. Looking back now, I'm surprised anyone used to put up with me personally or professionally. People used to be scared of me at work because I would expect things to be done my way and right the first time, without taking into account other people. And if things were not done a certain way, I'd just flip, even at the smallest things. I went through years of this without realizing what I was doing to myself, was harming myself and the people around me. I was constantly stressed, angry, tired, and forgot what it felt like to be calm and relaxed. It was only when I moved to the Middle East and was thrust into an environment where I had to think and act differently to get the results I wanted, as doing things the way I did back in the UK was just not going to fly here. And I know this because I tried. And the biggest eye-opener was watching my wife, who I was working with at that time. So back then we had no idea we would end up together. I watched the way she used to talk to people, used to handle problems and deal with hard situations the completely opposite way to the way I did it. She was relaxed, calm, and even after a harsh conversation with people, they still respected and liked her. That they were not scared of her. This was a new and strange concept to what I was used to. This is when I got introduced to a couple of books. These books started to shift my perspective on what I was doing, the way I was thinking. It was at this point I started to look into myself and question myself about who I wanted to be. This began my journey into self-development. I was reading more and attending courses and workshops to help me understand myself, my true self, and what I really wanted. What was my purpose? Finally, I found my purpose. My purpose, I wanted to help, I wanted to serve, I wanted to leave people better than I found them. This began my journey of loving myself and taking responsibility for my actions and understanding that I have a choice in how I want to act and feel. No one else can make that choice for me. It didn't even work out with Charlotte and I the first time we started going out because we were both in completely different mindsets. We were just in a completely different place. We broke up only after 3 months. It wasn't until we both sorted our own shit out as individuals before we got back together and quickly got engaged and married and have literally never looked back.
So many people experience such depths, yet play small on the surface level just to cope and to get by, to play it safe for whatever the reason. We have made it our mission to share everything we can for others to understand that abundant wellness is accessible for everyone.
We realigned our life to contribute and give back to others what we know to be of such value through our own personal experience and the experiences of those we have touched with our work.
And hey, we didn't do it alone. We have and still have some excellent mentors and coaches who we learn from daily. It's vital to start lining up the people you associate with to be ones of value. Surrounding ourselves with only people who we can learn, be inspired by and bring us joy has been a huge part of our journey.
We certainly failed many times before reaching this moment, and I have no doubt there will continue to be some speed bumps along the way. We've learned what not to do, from guru hopping to spending money on rip-off trainings, to focusing on what's wrong, to learning to focus on really what counts.
Learning to quiet the noise, listen to our purpose, and knowing how to find the answers within ourselves has led us to the success that we're now fortunate enough to be experiencing and now have the privilege to share with you.
Please remember, you are only ever one decision away from connecting to your highest self and accessing your true potential inside and out.